Dear Fish Keeper, today we are already on case 29 about the Botia KUBOTAI with METACERCARIA. I will explain in the following videos and presentation. The Botia KUBOTAI we saw in this aquarium, some were very skinny looking, laying separately from the group. Here we see the observation. Others were looking fine, not so badly damaged, swimming very healthy here up front of the aquarium, looking for food, looking for, the fish keeper who want to feed them. But some are too listless, too weak, and they're wasting away, and some were dying. So we examined one of these fish, and we checked out that we found in the gills these kind of strange bodies. Here on the gill, here in the gill, here is one more. Here is one laying there, encapsulated organism, which is a worm larvae, a METACERCARIA we call that. And they are taking part of the healthy gill, so they are taking away a good part of a good respiration organ, so the fish will have an impact on his respiration organ, so it will not function well, the gill. Not good in taking up oxygen, not good in taking out CO2 or ammonia. So the encapsulated METACERCARIA are causing a problem. Here we see a closer magnification. You will see here the worm larvae is sitting in here, and it takes up a part of the healthy organ. Here we see it in closer observation. See the organs here. And here we see in the video, we can even see in the video that some of the worm larvae, if we look very closely, they are a little animal, little larvae that behaves and is alive for a certain time. This larvae is waiting for the next host because the fish is in the intermediate host. That means that the worm larvae is waiting there to be eaten by a bird or another bigger fish or predator fish, and then it will become a digenetic trematode. So that's a trematode larvae. It will become a larger worm. In this case, it only sits there and waiting for a couple of weeks, months before it's normally eaten by a bird or a predator fish. So eventually it will die. But meanwhile, the worm is dying, and meanwhile the organ is affected. You can see the gill tissue is damaged and will have a bad functioning. On the other hand, what happens also that there's an easy infiltration of bacteria, so you can have a bacterial infection also in this Botia KUBOTAI that affected the organ. So we had a bacterial infection also as a secondary problem. Sometimes the fish can live a long time with it, with this kind of condition. If it's not too heavy, they can live for life and never die and never show any symptoms. But if there are too many of these METACERCARIA, it affects the gill tissue and it affects the health of the fish. So the main problem is the loss of gill function. And the origin of these kind of METACERCARIA is usually by fish who have been kept in outdoor ponds with snails or birds in the pond or around the pond, or collected from a river, from the wild. And the fish is an intermediate host, so it's part of the ecosystem where the worms have a chance to use the fish as a host. Unfortunately, there is no medication to kill this larvae, because as you can see, the larvae, METACERCARIA, is encapsulated and well protected for any medication. So you cannot use anti-worm medications, no use. But you can try to treat the secondary bacterial infections. When you can see the fish getting weaker, you can try to use an antibacterial medication. And most fish survive well if you keep them in best conditions, with food that helps their immune system to become strong, particularly with immunostimulants and pro and prebiotica, like I keep on recommending in the industry, and that's my work as a consultant, that I advise to use this kind of food to help the fish to survive infections, to prevent infections, and certainly in this condition to help the fish to live with this METACERCARIA. So, conclusion is, many fish will survive, but some percentage will die because of a too heavy METACERCARIA infection, which cannot be treated. So taking care of the best way of your fish will have the best success and survival rate.